The secretary who secretly owned the company. In the heart of the city stood Skycrest Holdings, one of the most powerful corporations in Asia. Thousands dreamed of working there, but behind the luxurious offices and shining glass towers, power mattered more than kindness, and the weak were treated like nothing. Everyone in the company looked down on Mark, the quiet secretary who wore simple clothes, worked overtime every night, and silently obeyed every order. Every day he endured insults, humiliation, and disrespect. To everyone around him, he was invisible, just another low-ranking employee. But what nobody knew was that Mark secretly owned the entire company. Every morning, Mark arrived earlier than everyone else. He organized schedules, prepared documents, and quietly completed tasks nobody appreciated. As he walked through the office halls, he watched people reveal their true personalities, not through words, but through how they treated those beneath them. Most employees ignored him, some mocked him, others treated him like a servant. Yet Mark never complained. He simply observed and remembered. Only one person treated him differently: Angela Reyes, a kind HR officer who saw something unusual in him. While everyone else focused on titles and status, Angela treated Mark like a human being, and for the first time in years, Mark felt seen. But even Angela did not know the truth. She had no idea that the quiet secretary beside her was the true owner of Skycrest Holdings. Years earlier, Mark's grandfather built the company from nothing, through sacrifice, discipline, and relentless ambition. He created a corporate empire. Before his death, he gave Mark one final condition. If Mark wanted to inherit the company, he first needed to understand the lives of ordinary employees. He needed to experience hardship, humiliation, pressure, and loneliness. Only then would he truly deserve power. So Mark entered the company in secret. No luxury, no special treatment, no title. Nobody knew his real identity, not the executives, not the employees, not even the board members. Everyone believed the real owner lived overseas, and so for years, Mark silently watched the company from the shadows. Then one day, everything changed. A major crisis struck Skycrest Holdings. Profits collapsed, investors began leaving, fear spread throughout the company. Inside the executive meeting room, panic filled the air. Executives argued endlessly about solutions. Some wanted mass layoffs, others wanted salary cuts. Nobody cared about the employees who would suffer. As the arguments continued, Mark quietly spoke. He suggested renegotiating supplier contracts before sacrificing workers. For a moment, the room fell silent. Then laughter erupted. The executives mocked him openly. How could a mere secretary dare speak during an executive meeting? To them, Mark was nothing, and nothing should remain silent. Then came the humiliation. The senior manager, Damian Cruz, publicly insulted Mark in front of everyone. He demanded that Mark kneel and apologize. The room became silent. Some employees looked uncomfortable. Others secretly enjoyed the spectacle. Even Angela tried to defend him, but Damian ignored her, and slowly, Mark knelt. Employees secretly recorded videos. Executives laughed proudly. At that moment, nobody realized they were humiliating the owner of the entire company. But then, everything changed. The elevator doors opened. Security guards entered first. Then the chairwoman arrived unexpectedly. The atmosphere shifted instantly. Everyone stood in panic. And then she asked one question. "Where is Mr. Mark?" Damian casually pointed toward the secretary, but the moment the chairwoman saw Mark, her face changed completely. Then, to everyone's horror, she bowed deeply before him, in complete silence. The truth was finally revealed. The quiet secretary everyone mocked every single day was the true owner of Skycrest Holdings. Fear spread throughout the room. Executives turned pale. Phones fell from trembling hands. The same people who insulted Mark moments earlier could no longer even look him in the eyes. Meanwhile, Mark slowly stood, calm, silent, powerful. For years, he had hidden his identity to understand ordinary employees, but what he discovered inside the company disappointed him deeply. He saw greed, arrogance, corruption, and abuse of power. He watched executives destroy innocent employees simply because they lacked status. And now, the people who abused power finally understood fear themselves. One by one, Mark exposed the corruption inside the company. Then he turned toward Damian Cruz, the man who humiliated him publicly, without anger, without shouting. Mark terminated him immediately. Security guards escorted Damian out of the room as he begged desperately for forgiveness. But it was already too late. For the first time in years, justice had finally arrived inside Skycrest Holdings. Later that evening, Mark stood quietly on the rooftop overlooking the city. The noise of the corporate world finally felt distant. Then Angela approached him. She asked the question that had remained in her heart all day. Why didn't he tell her the truth? Mark smiled softly, because he wanted someone, just one person, to treat him like a normal human being. And Angela did. Not because of wealth, not because of power, but because of who he truly was. For the first time in many years, Mark finally felt understood. But the story was far from over, because somewhere inside Skycrest Holdings, someone was secretly planning revenge, and the greatest battle had only just begun.